What's up, taters? Can Vandal here. Today I've got a really awesome episode. Got a real awesome episode. The reason it is because I got some sling mail the other day from a good buddy, Todd Brapson. Todd Brapson, if you've been a part of my channel, you've heard of him. You've seen his designs. He makes frames. Now, I'm going to tell you what, I enjoy everything he puts out, but he sent me a prototype. That means it's a secret. You want to see it? I'll show you. Check it out. Wow. Pretty nice. Now, I'm fixing to take this to the range. I'm going to run it through its paces and give him some feedback, but I got one small dilemma, and that is the fork tips are a bit smaller than what I typically shoot. Now, you say, well, why is that a big deal? Well, it's because my normal frame tip is a 90 millimeter. This is an 80. Let me show you. Look. Pretty substantial difference. And if you've been shooting long enough, you know that different frame widths will perform differently. It doesn't matter that I've got the same band material, I've got the same taper, I've even got the same pouches on these things. When I shoot these, one of these is going to shoot different than the other. Why? Well, it's just a lot of science that I'll just leave it up for the hall monitors to explain. But in my experience, when you have a thinner frame width, it tends to shoot a little bit higher. So today, I thought it'd be a great opportunity to show you how I adjust between different frame widths without moving my anchor point. Stick around. Let's do it, Tater. Now, why is this an issue? Well, it comes down to consistency. I'm a believer in consistency. In fact, when I was learning to shoot, I was watching all kinds of videos, and basically everybody was saying the same thing. The key to accuracy is consistency, doing the same thing over and over again. And so that's what I've done, and I believe in that. In fact, I'm so consistent, I'm consistent right down to the draws I wear. I use the same stance, I do the same anchor points, the same shot references. I don't change anything. I even go as far as to use the same band set material, which is SimpleShot, premium black latex. I'll put a link down in the description. I use the same frame widths, which is a 90 millimeter. I mean, I don't change anything. I try to be consistent all the way through. And at 10 meters, when I got all these things lined up and I'm consistent, I do pretty well on the range. So when it comes to having to make an adjustment for a smaller frame width, I don't want to change any of those things if I don't have to. But like I said before, on occasion, I do get a frame that has a smaller frame width. Now, typically, when you have a smaller frame tip, it will tend to shoot a little bit higher. So you got to make an adjustment for that. Now, there are different ways to approach this, and some people will tell you, well, just move your anchor point. If you're shooting low or shooting high, just adjust it on your cheek to accommodate for the elevation. In other words, it looks something like this. If your anchor point is here, and you need to adjust it lower, you just move your anchor point higher on your face. Now, you got to be careful, because the same people that'll tell you to move your anchor point are the same ones that probably shoot TTF as well. They're flipping nuts. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Moving your anchor point is a way to adjust for it. It is not my preferred way, but it is a way. It is different, and just because it's different doesn't mean it's wrong. Once you have established your anchor point, in my opinion, it's best to leave it alone and don't move it, and look for another way to make the accommodation for the fork widths that you're using. And in the vein of consistency, I want to show you what I do to accommodate for the different size frame widths that I shoot without having to change my anchor point. So instead of making the adjustment here, I make the adjustment down there. I cannot believe my dog is bowing up on the camera. All right, I make all my adjustments not here, but I make them on the target itself. Because it's such a small adjustment that you have to make, there is no need to ever have to move your anchor point, in my opinion. Now, when I'm out shooting my 90 millimeter frame, I take the tip of my fork and I put it right here in the middle of this target. And 9 times out of 10, at 10 meters, if I'm steady, that's where it's going to hit right there. Now today, I shot earlier, I was shooting This frame here, this is an 80 millimeter. It's 10 millimeters smaller. I did the same exact thing, putting the tip of my fork right here, and it was hitting way up here. I barely even hit it. In fact, I missed it a couple times. I was shooting about 1.5 inches above what I typically do. So to make this adjustment, rather than moving my anchor point, all I'm going to do is take my reference point. Instead of put it here, I'm going to put it at the bottom. It's just a simple adjustment. There is no need to switch up your anchor point to make this adjustment. All you got to do is take your reference point that you use and put it lower. In other words, I'm making all of the adjustments at the target, not on my cheek. All right, maybe this illustration will help make it make sense. When I was learning how to shoot, I learned from the great Bill Hayes. Now, I didn't go to his house, I just watched the video. So Bill, being the genius he is, he said the best way to learn how to shoot a slingshot is to pretend you're shooting a gun. Now that's my language because I come from a hunter background. I've shot compound bows, I've shot rifles, I've shot shotguns, pistols, everything. I know about shooting a rifle. And he said, basically, shooting a slingshot is a lot like shooting a rifle. You want to bring it up and you lock your rifle in and you get a good stance. Now, you don't want to move anything in here. If there's any adjustments in elevation, what you want to do is you want to pivot just like this. If you want to go down, you pivot down. If you want to go up, you pivot up, just like that. What you don't want to do is, if you want to shoot lower, bring it up like this. You don't want to do that. You pivot up or pivot down, depending on how you want to shoot. You keep all this in line. So now let's go to a slingshot. Now when you're shooting a slingshot, it's no different. It's like shooting a rifle. You pull back, and remember, you want to keep everything up here stationary. If you need to adjust for elevation, what you do is you pivot. You pivot. If you want to go down, you pivot down. If you want to go up, you pivot up. You make the adjustment on the target itself, and you don't have to move your anchor point. It's that simple. Well, I hope you've learned something, and one thing I really want to drive home is, with slingshots, there's a lot of room for preference, and some people, at the end of the day, they just prefer to move their anchor point, and if you choose to do that, brother, there's no shame here, man. Go for it. If that works for you, that is totally fine. I personally, because of consistency, I choose not and never to move my anchor point, but that's just me. I want to stop and say thank you to all the new subscribers and my old subscribers for sticking around. The channel is growing and I really do appreciate it. You guys make this worthwhile. And with that said, until we meet again, be kind to each other and get out there and bust some cans. We'll see you next time. It's not. Bonus footage. 10 meters. Yes, sir. Oh, dropped it. Got it. Missed. I'll edit that out. Okay. Alright, try it again. Here we go. Alright. Live action. Yes, sir, right in the middle. Here we go. Ready? Yes, sir. All right, one more. All right, here we go. All right.
Later, Tater.